Thank you, Speaker. I move the motion championing Australia's multicultural strength and relating to SBS in the terms in which it appears on the notice paper. Our country and the world face social, political and economic turbulence following the pandemic. The Scanlon Foundation 2022 Social Cohesion Study found that while social cohesion increased in Australia during this period, it is now declining as we adjust to life after this turbulent time. But the study also found that the population-wide, our nation's support for multiculturalism is high and growing, with 78% believing that migrants make Australia stronger, from 63% in 2018. That's why I'm putting forward this important motion, as I believe this House has a critical role to play to ensure that the policies, the conversations and the decisions we make from Canberra champions our cohesive Australian multicultural community and identity. We know that more than half of the Australian population was born overseas or has one parent born overseas. In my electorate of Fowler, the multicultural heartland of Australia, 70% of my community speak a language other than English. Which brings me to the role that the Special Broadcasting Corporation plays in encouraging and highlighting how multicultural Australia is now the fact of life in our society. Representation is critical. My life before being an elected member for Fowler was a journalist and a reporter for first the Fairfax Community newspaper, then later the ABC. I was the only Asian face in the newsroom. During the period of the 90s, reporting on local issues, my community was demonised and ostracised across all media outlets, and even by our elected politicians. Had there been representation from people with lived experience of this community, it would not have ignited the flames of division that we had felt at the time. Studies by the University of Canberra and SBS have shown how multicultural communities are represented in the media affects their sense of belonging. The Scanlon Foundation found that Australians' sense of belonging has declined from a score of 100 in 2007 to 81 in 2022. Belonging is a key element in creating a social, cohesive society. Further research from Media Diversity Australia also found that while diverse representation improved on our screens and airwaves, there is still some ways to go. The report, Who Gets to Tell Australian Stories, found that while public service broadcasters have improved representation of on-screen talent or in their stories told, commercial networks still severely underrepresented cold communities in their broadcasting. Furthermore, in the newsrooms and boardrooms themselves, the leaderships are also lacking in cultural diversity. So with this, I'm proud to launch the Parliamentary Friends of SBS alongside my colleagues, the member for Monash and the member for Cornwall. SBS, as a public broadcaster, has serviced Australians for approximately 45 years, covering stories from multilingual and multicultural media forms. I commend SBS in its commitment to ensuring everyone's voice is captured and included. A young constituent has shared with me how she grew up watching her father and tuning into the Vietnamese segment of SBS to learn about what was happening around the world. This experience shows that multiculturalism in the media is a powerful tool and can travel through generations. Yes, diversity in the arts, culture and media is important, but so is representation in what we do as policy makers. Media and politics go hand in hand. The media will report on the government policies, so that therefore the government at the end of the day is ultimately responsible for formulating policies to enable a cohesive multicultural Australia. It is very exciting to see this parliament being one of the most culturally and gender diverse, but we're yet to see how this will translate into leadership roles, decision-making and policies that will benefit communities we represent and the cultural diversity within it. Australia will continue to be more diverse as time progresses. So I ask government institutions to ensure multicultural communities are included and are on their mind when formulating policies. This will eventually be reflected in mainstream media through the stories we see and in mainstream institutions at leadership levels where lived experiences, cultural knowledge and diverse perspectives will enable better policy outcomes and decision-making that will make Australia a stronger and cohesive nation. As we sit in this prestige, in the prestige of this parliament, I am reminded that our voices are a powerful tool to ensure that the policies we delivered is reflective of Australian multicultural society. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank the member for Fowler. Is the motion seconded?